when you get to my
older.
age.
You don't look older.
No. Well,
You're
but
pretty good.
The truth is, I think you both have your act together, and I like the fact that you go out to the park.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And you do things first thing in the morning, which is a good idea. But if you had to come here, you probably wouldn't do anything before you came here.
No.
So I think when it comes to exercise, I always think with my clients, and I always ask them, whether they're a professional athlete or an actor or they're a young person, where have they been? Where are they going to? And how's this exercise going to make their game better? So your game today, folks, is to present on GB News. And if you got up like 3 hours before you had to get up, so you go out and ran like 5 or 6 miles, you'd be sitting there going, twitching, going, my leg is stiff,
yeah.
I don't feel good. So you always have to get people ready for their game. And I think the bottom line is, it's easy to train hard, it's hard to train smart. And when it comes to running, and I ran marathons, and anybody that's been in the exercise business for over 40 years like I have, hold your hand up. Most of my injuries came from doing too much, too often, and too frequently. And the truth of the matter is that you don't get stronger when you train, you get stronger when you recover from training. And this idea of addiction, it actually comes from the Roman age, where somebody used to get sentenced for a crime, and the addiction was they would become a slave for someone. So in a sense, being an addict to somebody is a slave to something. So in a sense, if you're really healthy, you don't get sick, you don't get injured, and you have a lot of energy, and that way you will look your best. When you become addicted to exercise, you override injuries, you override pain, you get more frequency of illnesses and flus. And as a matter of fact, people that train too much and don't train at all are usually in the same health category. How
would you know if you were addicted?
Yeah, where's the line?
I think when you push yourself when you're feeling sick, when you have a chest infection, you should never train. If you have a slightly, nasal congestion, when you're in pain and, your knee is throbbing and you still feel you have to go out there. And I think it's the problem sometimes with social media too these days, because young people that I work with tend to look at, it's unrealistic to have a 28-inch waist and a 55-inch chest for a guy, or everybody can look like Pamela Anderson in Baywatch. It's just unrealistic. And when you work with a lot of people like I have, like Angelina Jolie's and the Kate Winslets and the Sir Kenneth Branaghs over the years, you peak them for a movie role, or Hugh Jackman. They're not like that all month long. They're like that for that
Don't tell me
sequence.
that about Hugh Jackman. I've seen him on stage and thought he's so magnificent and fit. And
Andrew,
what a
you're
fine
right with
figure
you.
of a man.
He is like that most of the time.
I thought
and
he
I got to
might
tell
be.
you something. He's one of the nicest people. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. But having said all that, so he's the exception to the rule.
Okay.
But if you look at a lot of actors, they get in shape for this movie, and then next thing you know, you see them on a beach in People magazine, and they have a bit of a Milwaukee tumor, as we call it. That's a beer belly.
Well, talk of actors, look at